Hi, this is Annette Dubois from Champs Academy. I want to share with you more about the misconceptions around children's mental health. Of course, it's been in the media a lot more recently with some very concerning statistics around self-harm, OCD, suicidal thoughts, and of course the young people not getting the help and support that they really need when they really need it, having to wait many, many weeks, months, and even years. So I want to cover about the misconceptions about mental health in young people, because not all mental health issues are the same, yet in the media perhaps they are being all lumped together. So I'm going to give you 3 stages of mental health, because of course mental health is like physical health, and I'm going to liken it to colds, sniffles, things like that. So let's cut through the misconceptions. Your child, when they're growing up, will have sniffles. So sniffles and almost the development of a cold can be likened to early worries. So worries that happen every day. There might be worries about homework, about school, about friendships. There might be worries at home, depending on your home life and family environment. So they're simple worries that can easily be resolved and sorted out before they get worse. So I like to liken worries a bit like if you were chopping down a tree or trimming a tree. You start at the smallest worries first, snip them off, and then get down to how you want the tree to be. And the same is in our mind. We want to be able to cover and deal with, take action on those early worries before they get worse. So what I always suggest to parents is making sure you make the time to chat with your child or teenager about their day, about any worries that they have, and also to reassure them that we all feel different emotions, and feeling any emotion is okay. We don't want to hide it, we don't want to pretend it's not there, we just want to make sure we're not being controlled by it. So talking with them about worries, maybe sharing some of your simple worries, such as, oh, I was worrying about this today, but then I did this and I feel much better. So they understand that worries are a natural part of growing up, a natural part of every day, but we must take action on those worries to avoid them getting worse. Then, of course, a bit like physical health, sometimes those sniffles and coughs turned into a cold. So that is like anxiety. So if the worries aren't captured early enough, then quite quickly anxiety can come on. And this could be anxious about anything. And anxiety can develop in different ways for different people. So it might be more afraid, becoming more afraid. It might be scared to do something. It might be an anxiety that you're going to leave, or they're going to get left behind, whether that's in friendships or in family, one way or another. And anxieties can quickly allow the mind to develop the wrong kind of imagination. So things quickly become bigger, scarier, or worse than they really are, and that's where the anxiety has really got hold. So it's a bit like flu maybe coming on. You want to make sure that you're capturing things and you're caring for that mental and physical health as much as possible. So at this stage, when anxiety starts to take hold, the first thing that begins to happen is our language changes, our communication. I call it mind your language. And when we are getting more worried and more anxious and more afraid and more scared, then our language becomes more dramatic and it becomes more exaggerated. So using things like everyone, no one, anything, everything, it's like all encompassing. And when we use that language, our mind then latches onto it and believes that very thing that we're saying. So for your child or teenager, everyone is against me, no one likes me, everyone hates me, all my life is rubbish. I hate all of my life, whatever it is. And we've got to get real with the language that gets used, whether in that young person's head or when it comes out in expressive ways, whether that's anger or anxiety, tears, tantrums, whatever it might be. So at that stage, it's important to get real with the language. Well, does everyone hate you? Okay, what about your one friend? Or what about the person that you walk to school with? They don't hate you. So it's helping to gain perspective over the issue rather than seeing things bigger, scarier, or worse than they really are. And help them through it. Spend time with them, understanding where they are and where their mind is. Rather than saying, well, it doesn't matter or it's not really there. You've got to get real with them and they've got to get real with themselves. And then lastly, where worries have developed into anxieties, that all of a sudden, if those actions aren't taken early enough, they quickly turn into fears. And at Champs, we cover fear as false emotion appearing real. So this is where the mind tricks have really taken hold. We see things bigger, scarier, and worse than they really are. And our mind is a very powerful tool. We have an amazing imagination, but often it works against us rather than for us. So we end up imagining the worst things that could happen, imagining the worst day of our life, imagining lots of bad things happening to us. And that's where the darker thoughts can quite quickly come in. And we want to make sure that we capture them before they get even darker or before they get worse. And when fear comes in, it can stop a young person immediately. So you might find that they become physically sick and they can't go to school. You might find that they are so anxious they refuse to go to school. You might find that the simplest of tasks and things to do, they just cannot do. They just have not the ability anymore to function properly. And that's where the mind has really taken over. And other things can develop. It's where they feel so out of control that all of a sudden they start to bring other elements of control into it, like OCD or self-harm or eating disorders. So this is where it needs to be captured as early as possible and to get the help and support you need. And that's what we do at Champs. We provide practical, proactive solutions. So no matter what your stage your child or teenager is in, we can help. We have things to deal with emotional triggers. We have elements to make sure that the mind isn't being distracted too much into those darker thoughts. We have simple exercises and strategies that no matter where your child is, whether at home or school or anywhere else, they are equipped to manage these emotions. As I mentioned earlier, emotions are okay to feel. We should feel them. We're human beings. We just want to make sure we're not being controlled by them. But not all mental health is the same. So whether it's the early worries, the slightly more intense anxieties, or the worsening fear, we can help. All you need to do is get in touch and we will be able to help your child or teen no matter what stage they're at. If you've liked what you've heard and of course want to make a difference to young people, realise how much young people are struggling in life, then we want to hear from you. We need more coaches to meet demand, especially now children's mental health is more in the media, and of course the lack of confidence, because a lot of mental health, a lot of worries actually starts from low self-esteem, lack of confidence, lack of emotional resilience, all the things that we can help with. So if you want to inspire the next generation and beyond, get in touch because we're looking for more Champs coaches in our Champs Academy franchise.